Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
In the 90s, we were just teeny tykes. We liked our movies and our bikes. We wanted to be DJs, but we were just teeny gals. So we went off to college and we remained as pals. 20 years later, we're still watching flicks and we're bringing you the favorite bit by bit. Sweetie and Sweetie are here to say it's the Large Marge Santa's podcast. Hey,
Hey guys, welcome to the Large Marge Santa's podcast, your favorite podcast where two Sweetie sisters talk about movies that shaped their childhood. I'm Sweetie with an IE.
And I'm Sweetie with a Y.
Guess what, guys? We're together again.
I'm sorry. I started laughing because Sweetie did the... So when we record remotely, we do like, okay, count to 5 and then start. But I guess we don't have to do that now because we're in the same room. That's just to like sync it up.
Yeah.
So I just laughed because it was funny. Because I was just like, that's what she does every time.
But you know, we haven't had a good like laughing start in a while. Remember like some past episodes where we like could not even handle it.
We're professionals.
I
now.
know.
We don't do that.
We would just crack up and finally we just have to be like roll with it. But we haven't done that in a while because we've been in the same room. It's hard
so
It's hard to crack up when you are doing it remotely.
Really painful when you're like you want to but you can't, you know?
yeah.
Like that. That like feeling in your stomach.
Brutal.
Like, gotta let it out, guys. Gotta let it out.
Podcast professionals.
But in school that was the worst.
Oh yeah. The giggles.
Yeah. It'd be
The
bad.
giggles.
Yeah. I got in trouble, I'll tell you.
You do seem like a giggler.
I am a giggler. But like a cackler, but it's fine. So yeah, we're together. Same place, same time.
Yeah, so good times. We just couldn't make, the scheduling work. And we've been pretty good, despite this pandemic, doing definitely like, it's summer, it's busy, whatever. So this particular movie that we are doing tonight, I wanted to do for our dad's birthday. If you're followers of the podcast, you know our dad, Ron Dumas, departed this earth now, they're going to be 14 years. Wait.
I don't do math.
Okay. 13 years ago. Yeah. Right? Yeah. 13 years ago in December. But anyway, we had named him from the beginning the posthumous president of the Sweetie Club because he's really like the OG Sweetie. Started it all. So he's always been our posthumous president. And his birthday was a couple weeks ago, July 19th. Dad, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And I wanted to do this movie for his birthday, but we couldn't get scheduling right, whatever. So we're doing it tonight. It is The Lion King. Sorry for butchering the Swahili.
Good.
I feel like
that was
it's
really
like phonetic. I
great.
do Swahili phonetically.
I do like a what is that? I don't know. I scat? I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty good though. I thought that was I'm gonna give it a 7.
Yeah, a 7 out of 10.
Yep.
For sure. So I picked this movie because it relates to our dad in two ways, right? Number one, we're in the Dead Dads Club, much like Simba is in this movie.
Yep.
Right?
Same.
So we have the connection. Number two, we actually saw this movie in the theater with our dad in 1994. And it's I think one of the first memories of, so we have so far covered for Disney cartoons, and we talk about kind of the ones that shaped our childhood, starting with Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King. So those 4. We remember seeing Little Mermaid because we had a story where sweet Sweetie, 3 years old, jumped up on her seat and goes, "That's the wrong one," when Eric marries Ursula, right? Big memory for us.
Right. So cute.
We did not remember seeing Beauty and the Beast.
Or Aladdin?
Yes, I do.
I remember seeing Aladdin, but I don't remember
because I remember
the
Dad
situation.
laughing so hard at the Robin Williams stuff in Aladdin. But I do not remember Beauty and the Beast. Sweetie doesn't either, so that's a big loss
which
for
is
us.
weird.
Black
I don't know.
hole.
I'm sure
Maybe
we saw it.
I'm sure we did.
Maybe
too.
we had diarrhea when we missed the whole thing.
But Lion King, we remember it specifically. Here's why. Sweetie, take it away.
Well, Sweetie, 94.
Yep.
I guess I was 8. I'm going to call it a
Depending
7.
on when
Are we
it-
sure it's not a 7?
Well, I'm sure it didn't come out in October. I don't know. I feel like it was probably a summer movie.
Yeah, I mean, and couldn't say.
I bet you're 7.
Sweetie, I and Ron D went to the movie theater to see The Lion King. I don't remember like when in the movie this happened. I have a working theory.
Say early.
Yeah, it seemed early. Yeah. My tummy hurt. I don't know, too much popcorn. I don't know. You know, that can happen sometimes with those kernels. It's just like bad news. So my stomach hurt, and I was like, Dad, my stomach hurts. And at this point in my life, and probably until I was like 20 years old, I was afraid to do pretty much every single thing in life alone, except, I don't know, be in my room and playing with toys. Like, if I had to, like, go to the post office, I'd be, like, freaked the fuck out. Like, I still today am like, ooh, new sandwich shop? I don't think so.
You've come really
Too
far.
scary.
You've come really far. You're very independent woman.
I hated doing things when I was little. So someone always had to come with me, like, everywhere. I was, like, the biggest baby. So
She was the baby.
So
She was
Dad
the baby.
got up with me, and he waited outside. And it was the movie theater in Dennis, which is right by where our mom lives now, Carol. And so I always think of that little hallway in the bathroom where there's like a fountain. So Dad waited outside, and then I went in and like had obviously some issues. And I came back out, and I was like, my stomach still hurts. And our dad was like, is it number 1 or number 2? And I was like, what does that mean?
And this is where you learn what number 1 and number 2 means. This is amazing.
I know. It's wow, the legacy. But yeah, so I was like, oh, I don't know. And like, so then I had to go in and out of the bathroom the whole movie pretty much. And Dad came with me every time. Sweetie and I were talking on the before, and she was like, why didn't I go with you? And I was like, yeah, why didn't you?
I feel horrible now. I have extreme guilt from this. I would have been like 11. I could have been 10, let's say. Okay. That might have been a little young to be being the mom role for your sister, I'm going to say. But I was a very mom role to you.
She was.
For sure. So I'm like shocked, but I'm sure I didn't want to miss the movie selfishly. So I'm sure that is what kept me in my seat, because I didn't miss a scene.
So what did I do? Thing. Did I not? I didn't see the real thing until it came out on VHS, I guess.
Yeah, which we bought. You know, the clamshell, big white puffy thing, and everyone in the world had. I read some stat that said this was the most best-selling home video of all time, which is true. If you ever went to anyone's house in the 90s, they definitely had a copy of The Lion King.
Kim Kaplowitz, one of her faves. She had all the stuffed animals. I once caught her on the bus lip-syncing in the window to Can You Feel the Love Tonight? And I was like, what a loser. And then I went home and did the same thing.
Oh, yeah, totally. So huge movie, Kim. Obviously, for the Sweeties, but everybody else. So this was kind of, as we said, the end of the 4-movie run of Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and then this one. So this kind of like ended that run, because I think the next one was Pocahontas, and kind of they hoped that was going to be... I actually read that the Disney animators were put on 2 teams. The Team B team was actually Lion King. Team A was Pocahontas. They thought Pocahontas was going to be the bigger sell.
I don't know why. It's not funny at all.
Well, we have like hindsight with that, but dud movie, I'm sorry.
But Lion King was like star-studded.
Oh, yeah.
The only famous person in Pocahontas is fucking like Mel Gibson.
I don't know. Right. And like the animation's so...
There's not a lot of... The only comedy part is 2 characters who don't talk.
Yeah.
So it's like...
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know what they were thinking either.
Crazy.
But
crazy.
So this one ended up being obviously huge, and then they sort of went downhill, because then you had like Hunchback of Notre Dame. You had... What was another one? I can't even remember now. I mean,
we saw that in the movie theater.
We did. And they were just like so forgetable. So these 4, you know,
can't tell you anything about it.
by, you know, Little Mermaid and Lion King were definitely like the best. And, you know, it kept on. There were many, many sequels. And if, you know, this is one they brought back for the live action just last year or 2 years ago. We'll talk about that later. But huge, huge movie. But, you know, not my favorite Disney cartoon, for sure. I said Aladdin is mine. Yours is
Beauty and the Beast.
Right. But watching this one today, I'm like, this is an awesome movie.
I was enthralled.
Oh my God, me too.
I was like, where have I been this whole time?
Thank you.
So here's the problem is that when we were little, I think we were highly invested in whether or not someone had a pretty dress or like looked pretty. And now we are smarter and more into like culture and like learning. Yeah. And so we can pay attention to the actual story and like the other stuff aside from the cosmetic stuff
I
on the
agree,
surface.
100%.
So I think that's what was happening here tonight, folks, and it was exciting. It was thrilling. I'm happy to be a part of it. I'm a new convert to The Lion King.
Me too.
Go The Lion King.
And I'll say I think this is sort of, and I was trying to like think in my head, sort of Disney's like first shot at sort of like, so an African centric out of like white European style sort of these fairy tales that they had.
Right. But important to note that they were still afraid to put actual black people in Disney movies.
Exactly.
And we're like, let's do animals.
Exactly, still. But this was like kind of like their first shot at that and sort of opening up a bit, I think, their canon to stuff that was like I said, out of that like white European sort of like line of things. Now, they had done all animal Disney movies before, right? So I was trying to like rattle off before this started, like what were the other ones, like kind of all animal ones? Obviously, Disney is like big into talking animals, right? Anthropomorphic animals.
They're cute.
Animals with human qualities, right? So that's a big thing. So we were rattling off a couple. So the Aristocats. Can't say if I've ever seen that.
Nope, but I love the song.
Yeah, the songs are good.
Everybody wants to be a cat.
Kind of like jazz and fun. We should watch that. You know, I'd love to watch some of these Disney ones that
Everybody wants to be.
That was definitely on
Hallelujah.
Remember that was on our Disney like CD of like all these random Disney songs.
It was a white tape. It was
Yes,
a tape. Yeah, but white with purple lettering.
That's
Loved
how I
that
learned
tape.
a lot of Disney songs I didn't know from movies I hadn't
Exactly.
seen.
Yeah, like all the older ones.
Yeah. Which we should go back and watch, right? For sure.
Maybe.
So Lady and the Tramp, I think that really fits in because the humans are very much on the side of that. Remember, they just like, they don't show faces of humans. It's
I think you
it's
just see the
all
dog
animals.
catchers like the only person probably.
Robin Hood, that's really like animals acting as people. So like, I don't know if that really counts.
So is Lion King kind of?
Well, but they're like
clothes.
and they walk upright. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it's a little different.
Yeah. Jungle Book. So that Mowgli is sort of the one human presence, but like animals acting as humans. Fox and the Hound, same deal. I think there's like a little bit of humans, but they're kind of, they just show like their feet and stuff. Or are there people in it? I don't know. I need a refresher on that one. 101 Dalmatians, definitely people,
Yes.
but you know, lots
the
of
outside.
talking dogs. Bambi, all animals, again, humans sort of like on the outside. Dumbo, a lot of talking animals, also humans. And Finding Nemo, I'd say that's sort of the latest one where it was pretty much animal centric, right? So Disney, you know, is not foreign to doing these kind of movies, but this was definitely one of the first that, or one of the few that contains no humans whatsoever, not even a mention of them, like nothing. It's purely like you're in the animal world, and that's what it is. And that was kind of revolutionary too. You had, I think, and I'm not certain about this, but kind of the first time Disney used a star-studded cast, let's say. So before, like Little Mermaid, Aladdin,
But it was like one.
Beauty and the Beast might have had like one famous
Notable
person. Yeah.
Well, our favorite, Mrs. Potts, Jessica Fletcher.
Right, exactly. But I feel like Disney
Jerry
used
Orbach,
to
please.
like cast people who they like their voice but could also sing in it. Some of them, not all of them, but
You had to do the work.
yeah.
Back in the day,
Right.
there wasn't this like, oh, you can't sing. It's fine. We'll find someone else.
Right. And there's specific people who are voice actors for a reason. Their voice sounds great. They might not like look totally gorgeous that they could be on film, but that's what voice actors are for, right? But for Lion King, they really pulled out like almost everyone is voiced by like a famous person, which is totally nuts
pretty
and
wild.
seemed like something that like had never been done before. Maybe it had, I don't know, maybe other franchises had kind of used All Dogs Go to Heaven, Dom DeLuise.
God,
Come on.
yes.
So it had
love
been
that
done.
movie.
Yeah, we got to do that one. So here we go. All-star cast, starting with my favorite, J.E.J.
JTT. What?
Oh, I went J.E.J. I went J.E.J.
Well, I knew. Okay, that's what I had. I thought.
I went
but
Jej.
I thought we were. So, James Earl Jones. Yep, for
As
sure.
Mufasa.
Mufasa, forever and always.
Always.
I can't believe he came back to voice Mufasa again in the live action.
I mean, that was the only good part of the live
Right.
action, I got to be honest.
Was it just the same exact movie? Though?
We'll talk about it.
But
It damaged my soul when I saw it. We'll talk about it. Who's our other favorite initial?
JTT.
JTT.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas, Home Improvement fame. He was like the boy crush, like under Devon Sawa. It was like Devon Sawa and then a little bit
100%.
younger JTT. So I was not into him because he was unfortunately a blonde-headed child with a mob, which is a male bob. And I was just not into that. I'm not into that lifestyle.
Yeah, you just don't love it. Matthew Broderick voices. So JTT is young Simba. Matthew Broderick, older Simba. I gotta say, I never really latched on to Matthew Broderick's voice in this for some reason. It is the one miss in this I just don't love.
I think we need someone strong and like imposing.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people who could do it today.
Me too.
But yeah, Matthew Broderick was not one of them.
Yeah, and I remember even seeing this when I was little and being like, that voice
weird.
does
Yeah.
nothing for me. Especially when you're coming from like a Mufasa to that, and I don't expect him to be like, oh, but no one can do a James Earl Jones voice, right? But I don't know why they picked Matthew Broderick. Like if he was going to sing the song, I was like, okay, I'd understand that, but anyway, that seemed weird. Jeremy Irons as Scar, excellent, 100%. No one else could do that better.
Butter.
That guy has the coolest voice ever. He's amazing. Very, coming off of the Aladdin being the one before this. He doesn't voice Jafar, but it's like a very similar kind of portrayal.
Sweetie was convinced.
I
he
was
did.
confused. Yes, I might have been confused my whole life and just realized today that he didn't do Jafar. No, we did Aladdin. I don't know who Jafar is. Again, I think I nobody, right? Rowan Atkinson, Mr. Bean himself, as Zazu, the bird. Is he what kind of a bird is he? Who knows?
A toucan.
No.
Barrett.
I was going to say a toucan, but he's too small.
It's some kind of bird. I've seen it before.
Whoopi Goldberg as leader of the hyenas, Shenzi. Rafiki is Robert Guillaume, who, you see his face and you're like, I've seen that guy in stuff. Because when you look in his IMDb, he's been in like every TV show, like from the 1970s on. Sweetie was like, oh my God, he was in Saved by the Bell, the new class. I mean, that is every TV show if you have been in Saved by the Bell, the new class. Cheech Marin, also other hyena. Him and Whoopi are amazing. Oh my God, you're doing a baby boom where you like need a piece of bread because you're coughing.
I was dying.
This is amazing.
So I was laughing, because my throat has the tickles, and I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna have to do the bread. So whenever I get that, I'm like thinking of Baby Boom, which is that awkward scene when she's in the general store and she's talking normally, and then she's just like, can I have a piece of bread or something?
And remember, I thought it was because she's like so hungry that she's like faking a cough so she can steal bread from the general store. Still stand by it. Okay, Maura Kelly. So you know her from The Cutting Edge is Adult Nala. Excellent.
Well,
Great.
okay, but like another do we need this voice?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why she had the part either. Nathan Lane and Ernie Sabella as Timon and Pumbaa. Killed it. I mean, so funny. Definitely one of the best parts of this movie. Mm-hmm. They are hilarious. Talk about, this movie obviously has some very heavy material with it. And they do such a good job of balancing that out with such like a great comedic duo and jumping from that very heavy stuff to like all light stuff. Really, really good. Okay, here's my big reveal, which I don't think you know about. The woman who plays Sarabi.
Okay. I was going to ask you who played her because I recognized it.
Is the mom from Coming to America, the queen, who is married to James Earl Jones, who's the king.
Duh.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it.
Yes.
And he has that lion head thing.
Yes.
Yep.
So we've covered Coming to America, one of our favorite films. The king and queen of Zamunda is the same. So James Earl Jones and this woman who plays Sarabi in Lion King, same actors. What is up? How cool is that?
Okay.
Yeah. Glad you recognized it because it was like in your head, right? So that's a ton of famous people. So that's amazing. Really, really cool cast. Again, Sweetie already mentioned it, and they made a good job of sort of righting this wrong for the live action one, even though that movie wasn't I think very successful. They don't they didn't pick any people of color to voice these characters, even though it's in Africa and stuff like that. So you're talking about
James Earl Jones,
3 people of
Coming
color.
America. Oh.
Yeah. all the other people,
But right.
you know.
Again, why
were
are we
flaming
picking
white
Matthew
people.
Broderick?
Exactly.
to be
And
in
what
it?
you know what actually which kills me even more is that almost all so young Nala was a black woman,
Yeah,
a
just
black
the
girl.
Simbas.
The guy who did the singing voice for young Simba, a black man or black boy. So like the singing voices were, and I'm like, okay, like this is bullshit. Like
Such bullshit.
yeah, I don't know, it just annoys me. But so they rated that wrong. You know, they had a really great cast of people of color for the live action one, but that movie sucks, so I'm sad. But yeah, this is just like total like white Disney. What do you expect? Who else? Okay, so the song. So this was also a departure for the songwriting, right? Because the last couple were Menken and Ashman, I want to say. So Little Mermaid. One of them had died by the time Aladdin came out, so someone else wrote one of the lyrics or the books. Tim forget.
Rice?
Yeah, Tim Rice might have done Aladdin. Anyway, so they really switched it up, and for the songs for this one, it was Elton John, again, like star-studded, and Tim Rice doing the lyrics for all the songs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But Hans
Yes,
Zimmer.
but the score, so totally different, which I didn't even realize
No,
either.
me neither.
I thought Elton did like all
Yeah, I
of
thought
the
he did
music,
it all.
including the composition, but composition's really like a whole different thing. Writing songs that you put lyrics to versus songs that are just like the background. And this movie, the composition or the score is so beautiful and it's just amazing. So that's by Hans Zimmer, who is a huge Hollywood composer, mostly does stuff for Christopher Nolan. When I looked in his IMDb, so beautiful, like amazing, haunting melodies. And he went and worked, you know, with people who were familiar with African music and really tried using, you know, all the songs in Swahili, which is why you hear, especially in like the Circle of Life. Well, that was probably Elton John, but even in like the score itself, he really tried to work with a lot more African instruments and kind of look at African composers and kind of use that. So that was great. I thought that was like so beautiful. So he won an Oscar, and so did Elton John and Tim Rice for "Can You Feel the Love Tonight." Is that the best song in this?
No.
I don't think so.
I don't know why where they pick these songs that like
know.
win, like "Tale as Old as Time." Give me a break. No one cares about "Tale as Old as Time."
It's always the ballads, which I know I'm like a kid and I'm
Snooze.
like nostalgic about these movies. But I'm telling you, okay, first of all, Circle of Life was amazing. We'll stand by that. But when I'm gonna be, I just can't wait to be King came out, I was losing it.
Man.
I knew every word of that song. I was jamming in my seat.
Yeah.
That is a great song.
Even Hakuna Matata is a great
Hakuna
song.
Matata is
like
great.
that, like the middle with the it's great. It's
Yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, I
All
don't know. I
hits.
don't know. You know why? It's because like the Oscar people snoozy. They're like 75 years old. They're not gonna like. I just can't wait to be king.
Hakuna Matata. Well, they liked "It's Hard Out Here for a Pimp" eventually, so you know things can
Yeah,
change.
that's weird.
Things can change.
Okay, great. So, anything else we talk about before we talk about the synopsis?
No, I think like everything else I'm going to talk about when we talk about the songs probably.
Okay.
I have a memory associated with like most of them. Okay, just two, but I like to count up. But I'm excited. Yeah. I can't wait. Let's do
You
it.
just can't wait to be king?
I just can't wait to be king. I have a good one about that.
All right. It's time for the sweetie synopsis.
Yeah, sweeties.
I lost my whistle there. He's a big pig. You can be a big pig too. I'm sorry. That was like the line I cracked up the most today. I was losing my mind. Little tiny Timon in his like little grass skirt doing, you know,
Improv song.
What do you want me
So-
to dress and drag and put on a grass skirt?
He did.
Go for it.
Good one. Mufasa and Sarabi are king and queen lions of Pride Rock, undisclosed location in Africa, where they rule the animals, which I was like, what is this about? Because if I was a zebra, I would not be like, yeah, I'm going to root for this king who's just going to fucking kill me tomorrow and eat me. I was concerned. Sweetie tells me, don't worry, it's the circle of life.
Thank you.
They understand that, but still, it's like, why do they get to be king? And like, they're top of the food chain, sure, whatever.
King of the jungle.
It's not the jungle. It's
King
Africa.
of the Serengeti. King of the plains.
Anyways, that's the sitch. They have given birth to a son, Simba, who is being brought out, and all the animals bow to the future,
Like
the future king.
a baptism, a christening.
The once and future king, yeah. So then we meet little Simba, who's a rambunctious, good word, lion cub of who knows how old. I don't know lion age, guys, okay? We're like, how much time has passed here? Probably 6 weeks, because animals grow fucking crazy. So anyway, Simba and his buddy, Nala, are just kind of like ragtag, like getting into trouble. Simba kind of uses his future king status as a way to have fun, right? So they hear about, we meet Scar, first of all, who is Mufasa's brother, who was not present at the ceremony to, let everybody meet Simba. So Scar is a salty lion, let's say. He wants to be king, but he can't because, first, he's not the king right now, and Mufasa just had a son. So now he's not next in line to be the king of Pride Rock, and he's sour about it. He's pissed.
Yeah, he's mad.
So what's he going to do about it? Sweetie?
Assassination.
What?
What is it called? Fratricide.
Fratricide, patricide, matricide. What's sister's decide?
See, they don't even have that as a word because
We
women
don't even get the
fucking
option.
do it.
That's bullshit. But yeah, so Scar's like, I think I need to kill Simba. So he concocts this plan to lure Simba to the elephant graveyard where his cronies, the hyenas, are in wait. And they're supposed to kill Simba, basically. But obviously, just Simba gets away, Mufasa intervenes and saves the day, and so that plan is shot. So then, at one of the hyenas, what is happening? One of the hyenas says something offhandedly, we're gonna kill Mufasa? Yeah, right. And Scar's like, So now he has his new plan, which is kill Mufasa. How is he gonna accomplish that, sweetie?
So he is going to tell. How does he get Simba to get in the?
He's
path
like, "There's
of
a
the
surprise here. You have to wait."
Oh yeah. So he it's his uncle. So he follows him. He's like a little kid or little cub, and follows him. Oh, Simba, you got to wait here. And he has the hyenas kind of rustle up this whole big section of wildebeest. So a huge herd of wildebeest that stampede into this canyon where Simba is. So he's going to get, a stampede. He's a tiny little cub. He's going to die. So Zazu gets word of it somehow. I forget, how that happens. But anyway, Mufasa finds out and is able to run
Scar runs.
Oh, yeah. Scar runs to go get Mufasa.
And is
says,
Mufasa, quick, there's a stampede.
Stampede.
Simba.
Wow, that's good. It's a really good impression.
It's a little over the top.
So faking the whole, obviously the whole thing, even though he planned it. So Mufasa, the awesome dad that he is, goes and rescues Simba, throws him up onto a
twice
rock,
in 1 week.
rock
It's
ledge.
unbelievable.
I know. That's the thing with sons. You got to keep bailing him out of trouble.
Seriously.
So he tosses him up on a ledge and then is able to kind of jump onto another rocky ledge and kind of claw his way up. And who's on the top of that cliff but Scar? And he's like, Scar, help me. Debatable, what Scar would he even be able to do? Is he taking his lion paws
That
and
was
dragging him
my
up?
question.
I guess seemed a little bit
Sweetie
too.
was like, he grabs his arms and pulls him up. I was like, what are you
I
talking
think that's
about?
taking the anthropomorphic a little too far because they're can they use their paws as hands?
Probably would have bit him around
dragged him up.
his nape or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
and
yeah. Okay.
grabbed him.
So if he was a legit brother, really nice, he probably could have saved him. But if he's obviously, I want to kill him, opportunity to take the crown. So he slams his claws into him, and Mufasa tumbles off this cliff, falls. Whether the fall kills him or then the eventual stampede by the wildebeest,
We'll never know.
We'll never know what the cause of death was, but unfortunately, Mufasa is dead. So Simba goes to his lifeless body, kind of is like, Dad, wake up, comes to realization that he's dead. Scar comes to him and says, okay, like, you got to get out of here. People are going to think it's your fault. Like, you
He's
are,
like
are
literally
because-
saying.
Yeah. It's
a
really
terrible
sad.
person. Lion. He's a terrible lion.
He's impressionable, little kid. So he's obviously going to listen to his uncle. And so he's like, you better get out of here. They're going to think you killed him. Like, you don't want that. So Simba runs away. And then Scar's like, tells the hyenas to kill him. So his whole plan was to get rid of Simba too. Then he wouldn't have any, competition, right? But Simba outruns the hyenas and kind of goes like, there's this
Just
big
runs.
like thorn patch that they like don't want to cross. So they're just like,
How'd he get through?
whatever. He's going to die out there on his own anyway. I mean, he's a tiny little cub. He doesn't know how to hunt. He's going to die. So there goes Simba.
Mm-hmm.
Bye-bye.
Off. And then who should find him but Timon and Pumbaa? Two nomad kind of people. I keep saying people, but a meerkat and a warthog.
Mm-hmm.
And they wake up Simba and they're like, what's wrong with you, kid? Like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm running away. I did a terrible thing. And then he like goes off. So then they kind of like adopt him as part of their little group, and they teach him about Hakuna Matata. Hakuna Matata, it means no worries. So he joins their group, and then they do this cute thing where he like is walking on a log, and then he transforms like by the course of the log, and all of a sudden he goes from like little Simba to like awkward teenage lion with a weird like short mane that I'm not into at all. And then last, he's a lion with his full mane, so he's grown up. So again, like I said, I don't know how much time has passed, but maybe a year, maybe 5. Who knows with lions? I don't. So
Weird that like male lions, get a mane.
that's what I was thinking.
And the female ones do not. And then that is also similar for humans. Like, why is that cat parallel between humans and cats?
What? Boys only have hair? We have hair.
I'm talking about the facial hair.
Because
Like,
they have more, that's the male hormone.
But is that how it works with cats too? Like, it's a male hormone that
No.
grows that mane?
No, it's different. Because they're domesticated. I don't know. Things
Why
change.
do male lions
know.
grow manes?
I don't have the answers.
I think it is.
Some cats do. Some cats have like sort of manes.
Right, but why only lions? Because you don't see tigers with manes.
Listen, we'll go on a Google session after, but now
I'm
it's
intrigued
not the time.
because there isn't like you would think like a parallel between like chimpanzees and humans
dogs.
or dogs, but like what's up with that?
Fascinating. So, where were we? So now they're living life in the jungle. So Nala comes hunting because, Scar is now ruler of Pride Rock and has decimated all the resources as he would. And so she's gone off far to hunt and stumbles upon them. And then they soon realize it's Nala and Simba. They like find each other again. They're super excited.
Everyone at Pride Rock thinks Simba's dead.
They think he's dead. Done so. So she's super excited and she's like, this is great. That means you're king. You can come back.
Wait, time out. What did Scar say about Simba's body? Like, there's no body of Simba.
He's so little.
Weird.
The wildebeest took it.
I guess. But weird.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Awful.
So, yeah, Simba's like, I'm not going back. Like, this is my life now. I'm not about that life. Like, I'm not into it. And Nala's like, what the fuck, man? But they fell in love first. Sorry, before they had this conversation. Just want to point that out. And then Rafiki, the wise ape.
He's a mandrill.
Mandrill, that's what it is. Yes. Got the puffy butt on the bottom. So,
Not a baboon, which I always thought.
right? No, different. So he like smells feathers in the wind and is like, "Oh, Simba was in that." And then he like goes to find him and then convinces him he needs to like remember his father, and he like sees this vision of Mufasa in the sky and decides that he needs to go back. So he goes back home. Finds the place, like I said, totally decimated. It's like a fire has taken out Pride Rock.
It's hell.
It's very strange. It's hell.
desert
It's
wasteland
100%
hell.
The hyenas now rule with Scar as their leader. And the lionesses are trying to hunt, but there's no food, and it's just a terrible place to be. So Simba witnesses his mom like get called to Scar, and he like slaps her around. And he's like, listen, do not slap my mother. So he jumps in there, and Scar's like, Mufasa, you're supposed to be dead. And it's like, no, it's not Mufasa, you dummy. It's fucking Simba. Like, come on. So then he challenges Scar like for his place, and Scar tries to be like, "You killed your father," which like any dummy would be like, "I don't think that's the case."
I don't think
Let's
so.
see, we have two people here: Simba, sweet angel lion, or Scar, who's
Right.
the devil.
Right.
Like
He was a tiny cub. Like,
it's like, hello, put it
Crazy.
together. And I'm kind of annoyed at Simba for being like, "Yeah, it was my fault." Like, come on, put it together, buddy. He didn't do it. Your uncle was like, "Come wait at this spot by this lone tree."
I know. I'm sad he kind of got brainwashed.
Unbelievable.
But it's a circle of life.
Circle of life.
It
So
moves
yep. So
them
and
all.
so I don't. There's like 5 fights that happen. Scar
Yeah.
like feigns death like 3 times. He's supposed to be dead. He's not. Finally, Simba bests him, but he doesn't kill him and tells him to like get out of here. But the hyenas are less forgiving, and they swarm him and kill him probably.
Yikes.
Ooh,
Scary.
pretty violent.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it. But Simba is now the king, and then they go flash forward to suddenly Pride Rock has blossomed again. It's kind of like when they like purposefully set fire to trees in forests
Yeah.
to like make it regrow again. That's what I'm assuming happened.
I think so too.
So Simba and Nala have now had a cub, and then he gets presented to the sunbeams, and that's it. That's it. The circle of life. A full circle. So, yeah. Quick plot.
Yeah,
But
quick
listen,
plot.
It's about the songs.
It's about the songs. It's about the animation. It's about, like I said, there's a brilliant tableaus in this. Like beautiful, just even the still sort of animation of when they kind of pull back, and it's just like these amazing scenes. It's unbelievable. So loosely based on like a Hamlet-like story, kind of feuding brothers and a son, blah blah blah. I don't really. I've never.
Sweetie has never
I've
read
never read
Hamlet.
Hamlet, as you can tell. But I learned today from the trivia, much more closely aligned to the Egyptian mythology from the Osirian family myth, which is exactly the story. So they pulled, I think, from a lot of different sources. Yeah, but just, obviously the Dead Dads Club theme is one that is tale as old as time, not to borrow a phrase from another Disney classic.
Our least favorite song in a Disney classic.
Yep. But that is something that sticks with most people, and just, trying to live up to your father's memory, and especially when you lose him when you're that young. I mean, there's like kind of like all that themes, which is beautiful, and a tough theme for kids movie for sure. And I think one that was, I asked Sweetie, I wasn't sure, like, is this the first sort of on-screen parent death? I thought Bambi, but I feel like that happens off-screen. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. I'm not sure. But as a kid, I'm like, okay, this is like pretty traumatizing. I don't know if I'd want a little kid to see this movie.
So here's my theory is that I watched that scene and got terrified and had bubble guts.
Yeah.
And then that's why I
got
had diarrhea and then I
Well,
had to go to the bathroom.
But like not only that scene, which is very scary, but a lot of the hyena scene, the scenes with Scar, very, very scary. I don't think I would let under 7-year-old watch this.
Well, the end was like the scariest thing I'd ever seen in recent memory, maybe until the rat jumped out in the cupboard. Was number one scariest thing. This would be number 2. But there's this moment at the end where there's like fire everywhere, and then you see Scar like in the lion's pose leaping, like the lion in Pee-wee's Big Adventure that's like like ready to pounce. But it's like moving and with flames around. It was just like very scary, and I was a little spooked.
Oh, totally. And I think
then-
it speaks to the animation.
Yeah, and then the hyenas like ripping Scar up in the
Yeah,
shadows,
right.
like, and then there's just like fire and like hell.
The
and, like,
animation is so powerful and so great, and I think it was still a bit of a hybrid at this point of the cell sort of drawing animation they used to do, and then kind of computers. They were like slowly. This is early '90s, so they're slowly like kind of folding that in. But these movies took years. I mean, I read that the wildebeest alone, because they had to figure out how to make like all of those wildebeests at one time and moving and how to animate that, took 3 years. I mean,
crazy.
this is the kind of care they used to take
Yeah.
with animation. It
Yeah.
would take years. You didn't have a computer that could spit out stuff for you, and then, you know, and the demand and the money and whatever. I mean, that's the thing I think with
that's crazy.
these early Disney cartoons, early, I mean, we're talking about 90s here, that they took so much care because it took forever.
That makes me feel like a little nauseous. Like, can you imagine spending 3 years of your life to make a scene that is like 30 seconds long tops?
But even with computer animation, honestly, it takes a ton
Yeah.
of time. My friend's friend is
Sunny.
a graphic designer. Yeah. Sunny, Jen's friend. And she's worked on like a bunch of movies. But I remember my friend told me that she worked on Beowulf and was like literally in charge of like a character's hair.
No, that was Avatar.
Was it Avatar? I thought it was Beowulf.
Pretty sure it was Avatar. Jen, I think it's Avatar.
Well, one of
Confirmed.
those. And anyway, and Sunny worked on this bit of hair for like years.
Yeah, her braids swinging when she ran.
Yes. So I mean, so I think it is. I'm sure it moves a little bit faster with computer, but wow, the care that was like taken into putting together something like this. I mean, just years and years. I think just makes them such standout movies because also it's just that refining. Again and again and going back and looking, and I think that just having that time just makes these sort of almost like foolproof movies. I mean, there's just nothing wrong with them. They're perfect. They're beautiful works of art.
Yeah,
Amazing.
just great. So I think it's time for our favorite segment of Disney movies, which is Sweetie Songs.
Sing along.
Sweetie Sing Along. I didn't think we had a name for it, but all right. So ready to do this?
Yep.
Do you want me to start, or do you want to start?
Whatever. We
You're
can do
like,
it
which
together.
songs do I want?
We can do them together.
Oh, okay. Well, usually we just take like one, and then someone
I
take
know,
another.
I know.
But anyways,
I'm
okay.
not as
So-
fully versed with these.
Right.
So.
So the Circle of Life, we sing it in the beginning. So it's the opening song. It's so beautiful, and like just like the emotional like climaxes and like dips. It's just great. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful piece of music. So we sang the beginning part, but my favorite part of the Circle of Life is when it gets the big climax and like crescendo, where it's like till we find a place.
So it's
I was
this,
gonna
it's
go
this
for
woman.
Path, and then I changed.
That's this woman's voice, and it's just like, and like there's two times it
Is it a
happens.
woman?
Yeah, there's two times well, it's the woman who sings the whole song.
Could
but
be a man.
I'm pretty sure it's a woman, and it happens twice. But then the kind of really memorable part is when the sun comes out to like kind of bless Simba when he's being held up by Rafiki, and yeah, it's so awesome. We find a place on the path unwinding in the circle of life. Doosh. Love the duh. It's like a
And then it's the Lion King.
The Lion
like,
King.
yeah.
So good.
Which is great. Like no Disney movie has like started like that ever.
Yeah.
Like people must have been like shit in their pants.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
we didn't understand the gravitas of the situation. Clearly, I had diarrhea, so it was.
No, you must have diarrhea after
I
that.
know, but it was beautiful. It was beautiful. So great song.
Great song.
Okay, next.
Okay, so my favorite one in this, I just can't wait to be king. So good. One of those songs. So I haven't seen this movie in probably 20-something
Wait,
years.
is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I just can't wait to be. Okay, but the beginning is okay.
Yeah.
I wrote it
Yeah.
down wrong.
So I haven't seen this movie in like 20 years, probably even more.
No, you saw it recently. I thought.
No,
you
I
were
saw
like, I
the
watched
live
The Lion King. Oh, it was the
Yeah,
live
I
action.
saw live
Okay.
action. So I haven't seen it in a long time, and it was one of those times when you're like, something, an old movie plays, and it just comes back to you, and you know all of the lyrics, and you're like, okay, I haven't listened to this song in 20 years, and I know all the lyrics. Amazing.
Spooky.
So it's really good. It goes, I'm gonna be a mighty king, so enemies beware.
Well, there's something. Blah, blah,
Never
blah,
seen a
and
king
with
with
such
beast
a
with quite
little
some
hair.
hair. I'm gonna be the main event, like no king was before. Rushing up on looking down.
Really, I don't
I'm
know
working
the-
on my
my
roar.
roar. Okay.
And
yeah.
then the little.
Oh, I just
Can't wait to be king. Everybody look left. Everybody look right. Everybody look, I'm standing in the spotlight. Not yet. And then it's like, all the other animals kind of join in. It's sort of like a Busby Berkeley, almost like synchronized swimming, like where they're all in like little rows of like.
Who's Busby Berkeley?
So Busby Berkeley was a synchronized swimming choreographer in like the 30s. If you ever, I don't know, it's an old like dancing reference.
Wow.
That's why I know it. But like, so it's really cool. There's like different like rows of animals, and they're all in these like little circles, and they do like a bird's eye view, and so it's like this really cool patterns. Yeah, amazing. But I love that song. I was totally grooving to it. And the boy, like I said, who sings, so it's Jonathan Taylor Thomas does the voice of Simba, but it's a different singing voice, and the little boy's voice is like really, really good. And
So my story about this one is the same year that we did Red Hot Talent Night in 3rd grade, which is when I did my famous Nutcracker dance, of which I was told I had to do it alongside 2 other stupid girls. It's fine. Still not over it. The spring concert of that year was like a regular spring concert where you learn stupid songs. At this point, we had also done plays, so we did the Beverly Hillbillies, and I was Granny. It was great. I was a great success. Put baby powder in my hair. It was great.
She peaked.
I really did. So then they were like, okay, we have to do something current. So we were gonna do a Power Rangers thing where they because Power Rangers were huge, right? Oh, sorry, 2nd grade. I said 3rd. I meant 2nd. So they were like, no, Power Rangers is too violent. So they changed it to The Lion King. So we did I'm Gonna Be the Mighty King. So we're all like singing the fucking song. And then this kid, Max, whatever, he was in school for like a year, one of those kids.
Max, where did you go?
Like around for
What's your
a
last
year
name?
and then they move away, or like, I don't know, that kid Max. So he was like young Simba. And then Malia Rimavikas was behind the chair as older Simba in a big lion suit. And then they did a thing where they like flipped it, and then they unveiled the curtain, and it was Malia as like the big lion.
Wow.
So,
Memorable.
production value was top notch.
Level
But
it.
it
Easton
was
Elementary
a whole
School.
process. I'm like, did I want to be the lion? Maybe. But did I have a lion costume? No.
That sounds like a good part.
Yeah. I had a bear costume, but not a lion costume. Damn it. Until
been
next
you.
time. All right. Check. Okay. The next one. Be Prepared, which is Scar's anthem with the hyenas. He's decided he's going to take over Pride Rock. So it's very Nazi Germany, slightly uncomfortable. I'm like, do the hyenas need to have the Nazi march?
They're goose stepping.
It's very
I know,
scary.
it is scary. And this is a villain song, so I feel like one in the soundtrack that you would always hit.
Yeah,
fast
I skipped
forward.
it. I skipped it.
So I do not know this song at all. It's a cool song for sure, and Jeremy Irons is singing it, so that's kind of cool. But I just remember, be prepared.
I mean, I use it. Yeah, I mean, I use it frequently. Just like whenever I'm like, just be prepared to do something. I'm like, be prepared. You just have to say it like that. Yeah. So yeah. All right, next.
So arguably, probably the biggest song coming out of this movie, Hakuna Matata,
Hakuna
the feel-good
Matata.
song. And
Means no worries.
it means no worries for the rest of your days. It's our problem-free philosophy. Hakuna Matata.
Yeah, and the best part is the little interlude section with Pumbaa, who's like, "When I was a young warthog," or no, when he was a young warthog. When I was a young warthog. Very nice. Which I made fun of Sweetie. I was like, "That's like when you sing," and I'm like, "Too loud. Tone it down." But it's great, and he talks about his flatulence. Which do they use the word flatulence in that song? Okay, so I don't think I knew he was talking about farts like when I was little.
Yeah.
I think they do that in a very smart way where it's like, oh, this is very funny for adults, but like kids will just think it's funny because it's a funny situation. And I think he like makes a fart noise or something.
Yeah.
And the animals, but he just smells, so it's like this
Yeah,
fun
he's a
thing.
smelly warthog.
Pumbaa's like the 90s was, like we have said before, a time where kids were really into the like gross out humor, which we were not a fan of. So I don't think he was my favorite when I was little. I think I thought they were funny.
No. Well, and he's kind of like the fat, funny guy.
Right. And like, I thought it was okay, but it wasn't my favorite brand of humor.
And he's supposed to be stupid,
Yeah.
even though they'd make a joke about it, because there's this one scene where they're gazing at the stars, and he's like, Timon, like, what do you think those like
Shiny
shiny
things.
objects are? And he's like, I don't know. And he's like, I think they're big balls of gas, like millions of
Twinkling.
miles away or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, are you crazy? Definitely not that.
That's funny.
So it's just kind of a play on.
that was good. It was
Yeah,
good.
he's not as dumb as he looks.
Oh, God.
But yeah, that's definitely the big song that came out, and definitely I think got a little bit. It's a great song, but I think it got overused, and it became that phrase where people were like,
Oh, the Lion King.
Yeah.
Hakuna Matata.
Yeah, you'd have like some like annoying dad being like, Hakuna Matata, yeah, you guys, Hakuna Matata. And I think it got, it was like became like a dad joke or something, overused.
Totally.
But now with some 20 years distance, feeling good about it now. Feeling good about it.
Yeah, it's
we
fine.
could certainly
We
use
have-
some Hakuna Matata.
Yeah, we have enough distance between us and Hakuna Matata. It is acceptable.
Yeah.
But yeah, nice, fun song. And then the final song, a love ballad. So this is Can You Feel Love Tonight? Can you feel the love tonight? And then there's a brief section where Simba and Nala have a little solo. And so that part was my favorite. Like Simba's is like, so many things to tell her. It's their inner monologue. But how to make her see the truth about my past? Impossible. She turned away from me. And then, oh my God, Nala's part, forget it. He's holding back, he's hiding from what I can't decide. Why won't he be the king I know he is, the king I see inside? Oof, it's good.
Yeah.
And then there's a breakdown part of that one too, where it's like, can you feel? And then there's like drums more. Yeah, it's good. It's a great song.
Yeah, it's a good song.
Won
the
Oscar.
Oscar.
My favorite part is the like Timon introduction and ending. So the way the whole song starts. And I made a joke to Sweetie. I was like, this song is what I sang when you and Jimmy started getting serious. Because I was like, it's the end. It's the end of our relationship. And so, yeah, it starts with Timon being like, I can see what's happening. What? But he doesn't have a clue. Who? They'll fall in love. And here's the bottom line. Our trio's down to 2. Oh, the sweet caress of twilight. There's magic everywhere. And with all this romantic atmosphere, disasters in the air. And
God, so Broadway, I love it.
Yeah. And then the end I think is really sweet, and like it's funny, but like I like the way he sings it. And he's like, so if he falls in love tonight, and then he's like crying, it can be assumed. I just love how they turn all the words like into different variations. I just always thought that was so clever. But yeah, in short, our pal is doomed. Yeah, so it's great. It's a great song.
Yeah. Good song, good song.
And then they released.
Sad we trashed it earlier.
And then they released. I mean, like that version of it, I like, but I'm pretty sure the one that won the award was like the Elton John rendition at the end.
You're right.
Where he's playing the keys, the ivory keys, and he's like, I play piano now, so I can.
I can use the lingo.
So I can say that. But it was just not as great a song, and the lyrics are different. It's in my piano book, and I was like, what song? I was like, oh, Can You Feel Love Tonight? I'll learn it for the podcast. And then I'm doing it. I'm like, what are these words?
Yeah, it's like
they're
the
the different
longer
words.
Bummer.
So I'm pretty sad about it. But yeah, so that's the soundtrack. And then you have the beautiful arrangements. And so we had this soundtrack, as we did with most of these in the golden age of Disney. It was a silver CD with blue writing, if I'm not mistaken. And wore this one out, I'll tell you, because I mean, and not around the time. I think it was a few years after The Lion King, where I like rediscovered the Lion King soundtrack and made an entire ballet production with the orchestral like songs in this
I could remember the
soundtrack.
the choreography.
I mean, it was the same as Spirit, so it was just like variations on that. Yeah. And which Spirit was a show that Sweetie did that I've like emulated my whole life and remember the choreography still from it, to the point where her friends make me do it when we're together because they think it's hilarious. But so my memory about that is that I was like so invested in this production that like I would go into my room every night and be like, okay, it's time to put on the show. And I like get ready for the performance just for myself, no one else. And then when I'd be on the can, again with the pooping, we would have these dance merchandise catalogs because Sweetie was a ballet dancer, so she would get these in the mail. There would be like stacks of them in the bathroom, and I would pick one up and I would pick out the outfits for my Lion King production.
Wow.
And it was great. But yeah, you know.
We should have made it happen.
And I don't even know what it was about because I think I was
me
the
nothing.
sun. Like, I'm not like sun, sun, like the sun in the sky. I don't know. But it was really great.
I wish
so.
you would have performed that for me. I feel like I'm really missing out. Why didn't you?
Maybe I don't know. I'll give you a little something later. Maybe I can remember like
secretly
our
filming it.
favorite part, the part that's like dude, douche. That part. There's definitely a part where I do like a sun thing, like I'm stamping. I'm like, dude, I'm the sun. I
That
don't
sounds
know.
awesome.
It is embarrassing, but yeah. So great soundtrack all around. Usually, we said skip them, but I think they're all great songs.
Yeah,
like,
they are really good.
not a skip in the
And
bunch.
like we've said, like there's not these kind of Disney ones. There's only, I mean, there's 5 songs, averaging 5 songs a movie, which is, I would say half a musical.
no small feat.
And that's why I think Disney does a great job, because like a musical, sometimes it's too many songs for people and they get bogged down. Disney has like kind of does a thing where they're like, okay, we're only gonna do like 5 songs. It's not like the whole movie. It's in these great places, and it's not too many songs for people who don't like musicals, right? So it kind of fits in that window, which is great. So yeah, they do a great job. They really only do the songs that you need. I think I read like there's tons of editing even with animated movies, and they try out songs and they decide which ones they want and don't. I guess like James Earl Jones sang like I just wanted to be king initially, and it was like his song. But
Come
didn't
on,
fit.
release that.
So they switched it to like just a Simba one. I guess like Can You Feel the Love Tonight was originally just Timon and Pumbaa singing. So they switched that.
I'd be into that.
So they do like tons of editing. I don't know how they kind of figure out, because they can't do like test audiences, I don't think, for animation. They must just go.
Why not?
Like we said, that's years and years of doing these, so they have so much time to like refine.
They bring the executives in. They're like, I want this. More jokes about
I
boobs.
guess like Can You Feel the Love Tonight was not really in it, the first cut of it, and Elton John got to see the first cut of it and was like, this needs a love song or whatever, and put in that one, and that's the one that won the award.
LT.
So, I know, so crazy. So crazy.
I wanted to give a shout out to Ed, the stupid hyena. So when I was little, I thought Ed was like the funniest part, probably. Which now looking back, you're like, okay, that's really stupid. It's just like an obvious humor of like, oh, the stupid one that like, whatever. I think I'll maintain that he has some merit. But what I want to call out is that there was a sort of trend in the 90s of the name Ed as like adult character. So we have this, I only have one other example, so sorry. But Ed as this hyena, and then Ed and Good Burger, which was the all that skit with Keenan and Kel, where Ed. So my friends and I, whenever we would see like a dog with dreads or whatever, those dogs. Sheepdogs? Yeah. Or like something.
Yeah.
We'd be like, it's Ed. And then, I don't know. We just always love the character Ed. So I think when I saw this one, I was like, Ed. I don't know. I just think Ed's a funny name.
Yeah.
I don't know. I enjoyed Ed.
Yeah,
I
Ed
thought
was
it was
great.
really funny. He has a great callback joke where like they're like, we didn't know that was your son Mufasa. Like, Ed, did you know? And he's like, uh-huh. And then at the end, I forget what the similar line is at the end, but basically Ed gets to be like, yeah, I knew that, and then like kills him. So it's a great callback. So I enjoyed it, but I also just overall enjoyed the hyenas very much.
I did too, and they really have 2 forms of comic relief in this. So you have Timon and Pumbaa, the obvious one, but then the hyenas are half comic relief. They do get scary, but like they're mostly like kind of funny, right? And then they come around at the end because they get rid of Scar. So that there's sort of that flip of the character. But I feel like hyenas get a bad rap in this movie, animal-wise. Here's why. Did some research. So hyenas have very similar sort of like a matriarchal society that lions do. So like,
they're more like dog-like, right?
well, they're
like
dog-like
canine.
and they're smaller, but they actually lions scavenge way more than hyenas.
Whoa.
That is not known. You think lions are hunters and they're going after everything. No, they're lazy fucking butts, and they just, they get the carrion from dead animals just like lying there, right? Bow. And then lions are way more likely to kill within their own pride than hyenas are. So the hyenas are not really the killers there. They're not. They're like a much more like peaceful animal. Why they decided to select them as sort of this inferior species that like nobody liked and that like the lions were so against, I don't know.
what's that about?
I feel really bad. I mean, they're not the greatest looking animals, I will say, opposed to like a very statuesque lion. But come on. Yeah. Give him a bone.
Come on. Yeah, they had really funny moments. Yeah. Whoopi, especially, I think, has a lot of like, actually, her and Cheech, were just a great chemist, like playing off each other kind of thing. And the thing with these animated movies, and I remember they showed a couple like making ofs. I remember the Aladdin one because I was like, Jasmine's blonde, like the woman who like voiced her, and I was like, what the fuck? So that's when I knew the world was bullshit. Yeah. And so I don't remember if they, because you know how sometimes they record the voices with the other people, sometimes they don't. I mean, who knows? Maybe they weren't playing off each other. I don't know.
Right. I feel like to make a more successful movie, you'd want to have those people in the same room, right?
Yeah.
How do you make like a connection at all? You can't just, that is one hell of an actor just to be saying lines into a microphone when you are not able to play off anybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's crazy.
But I agree. Whoopi and Cheech had like some great chemistry and they were really funny. And and they really had some funny lines for those hyenas. It was very like well written.
And like a funny for adults, I would say.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
It wasn't like lowbrow.
That I feel like was the adult funny. Even though like Timon and Pumbaa had some a little bit more.
Because it was very like the hyenas were very like reference heavy of like making, references to things that
I'll have a
adults
cub
would know.
sandwich.
Yeah, a cub sandwich. I mean, that is genius. It's classic. But yeah, good times all around. Good times. What else do you have?
So this was one out of 3 Disney movies that won the Golden Globe for Best Picture before they changed it and had the animated kind of being their own category. And I was going to ask you, can you guess the other 2?
Wait, 2 other movies won Golden Globes?
There's been 3 total Disney movies that have won Best Picture in the Golden Globes.
At the Globes, not the Oscars.
Yeah, Golden Globes, and it was. Again, that can't happen anymore because there's an animated category.
How long have the Golden Globes been around?
So they're like, I'll give you a time frame. They're from the 90s and forward.
Oh. Beauty and the Beast.
Yep.
And Little Mermaid.
Toy Story 2.
Oh, what?
I know.
Trick question. That was Pixar.
Well, Disney.
Did you say Disney or did you say animated?
I said Disney. And
Let's play back the tape.
Pixar is under the umbrella of Disney.
Not at the time.
You got one.
Not at the time.
You got one. It's okay.
I call bullshit.
So Beauty and the Beast,
Wait,
obviously.
Toy Story 2, not even Toy Story 1.
I know.
Interesting.
But Toy Story 2 is really good.
It's good, but it's like a lot of action, and I get stressed out with that action. But it's good.
That's the daycare one, right?
No. The one where
Choose the collector one.
Yes.
That is really good. That is really. Oh, I love that one. Yeah. So I thought that was a fun fact.
Somebody loved me.
Simba's hair was inspired by John Bon Jovi.
Sweetie loved me.
Love. I totally agree.
Wait, John Bon Jovi?
Simba's hair was inspired by John Bon Jovi.
Oh,
Juvenile Simba. No. Not this kid we went to high school with who now I think looks like a lion apparently because I was like, wow, this looks like this kid we went to high school with. Yeah, so Simba's hair, beautiful, luscious locks. They make his mane, a auburn sort of color.
Sweetie's like hooked on this idea.
I'm really confused
She's
about
just
it.
like, why is it that color? I'm like, I don't know. I think they're going for like a dark brown, but it just looks different on our screens today or something. I don't know.
Yeah. And then they made Scar, being the villain that he is, like a black mane and like a darker coat even. So like Mufasa's line basically is this like auburn hair and sort of like a tannish coat. Nala, on the other hand, is like white. Yeah. Super, super white with turquoise eyes.
Sometimes. And then sometimes she would have just like regular green eyes and be like, what
I
happened
feel
to your
like
eyes?
they whited that up like too much, the Nala side of things, like to make her glamorous. I don't know. I think they whitewashed it.
Totally. Oh, of
which
course.
makes me uncomfortable.
Of course.
So that's not great. But so there's Sweetie said there's some kind of talk about how it's offensive. They made Scar the evil one, and he is a black mane and stuff like that. But I did read that they originally did not. They made Scar and Mufasa look totally different. So even though they're brothers, because they originally did not want him to be the brother. He was just supposed to be another male lion in the pride, but they
Which would
decided
make
to
sense
make it,
from what we've read about lions.
Yeah, exactly. So we did some reading on lions.
Right.
Some
But I
background.
think overall, I think The Lion King has been cited as being problematic for certain racial bias things happening including the fact that the bad characters are like darker in fur or whatever. The hyenas present like African American stereotypes, and there's all these like little things woven in. There's an article somewhere that we used to have in these books I used to make when I worked in the publishing industry, where it was like a sociology article about this. So that's why I know. And I saw an Instagram story about this in last month during like the Black Lives Matter stuff, just about how that stuff is everywhere. And like, you don't even think of it in movies that you grew up with until it's like presented in front of you and you're like, oh, okay.
Well, and it's like subliminal kind of, right? Because it's like whether Disney knew what they were doing or not, is that like you're constantly presented with these images that reinforce like this sort of racist world that we live in. So, Disney was no help in the matter. As I said, like great that they decided to be like, oh, great, Africa, like let's highlight that and use all animals. But then they still like injected sort of like
white people
racist stuff in it is very disconcerting. So, as I said, they, I think, tried to write this with the live action version of The Lion King that came out 2 years ago, I want to say. So they had an all African or African American cast. So you had like Donald Glover and James Earl Jones played Mufasa again. You had Beyonce. You had like Timon and Pumbaa were Seth Rogen and Billy Eichner.
Okay, yep.
So they did the live action. So if you've seen any of the live action and have heard, I've seen The Sleeping Beauty, hated it. Aladdin, I think that got pretty much completely trounced. The Lion King, I felt like was a bit more, like people received that a little bit better. I saw it and I thought it was garbage. Here's why. Again, shot for shot of the actual movie. Like, if you are going to do these, why don't you take some liberties on changing it up a little
that's
bit?
why I'm saying, did James Earl Jones return, or did they just use his voice from the movie just played it back?
Exactly. And then I was under the impression that they were going to be using real animals. Well, it's really some real animals, but mostly CGI animals. And the problem with CGI animals is that you can show zero emotion in their eyes. Unlike animation, where you can like make, like we were saying, anthropomorphize animals in their eyes because you're drawing them. Like it's really, really hard whether you're using, and I think they did use some real animals and then they sort of CGI'd when they needed them to do kind of crazy things / talk. It just doesn't work. They have dead eyes. And this whole movie, especially, so you're talking about the scene where Mufasa dies and like how much emotion is in like little Simba's eyes, making him cry. I mean,
too much.
I was weeping. I mean, I like literally wept for 5 minutes from an animated, drawings being like so touching.
And because you had too much wasabi.
And I had too much wasabi and a scorpion bowl. So, all those factors were combined to me crying tonight. But I just could not get into the live action. And maybe it is because we hold these classics so close to our hearts and there's a nostalgia factor, but I will argue to anybody like who sees that even today that movie is not great.
Well, didn't you watch the live action one with children?
No, I watched it with 30-year-olds.
Oh, I thought you watched it with Nate's kids. And
No. I watched it with Jimmy's friend Brandon, who is only like 2 years younger than me, but had never seen the original cartoon Lion King. Have you been living under a rock? What is wrong with you?
And you watched the live action one first?
And he loved it. And I was like, Brandon, you should watch the cartoon because it's
there's your
way
answer.
superior. So maybe he was just like involved with the story and everything like that. Now I got the coughs.
Now you got the coughs. I don't have any gluten-free bread. I can't eat these
you gotta
crackers. Eat the Jacks.
Oh yeah, I'm over here. So I don't know. Like, if you like the live action, like okay, I'll throw you an elephant bone, but it's like not for me. And so far, I am 0 for 2 on these live actions. I don't understand why they make them. I'm not going to go into this rant, but it just seems so silly.
They're just out of things, so they're like, let's do another one.
I know they have the Little Mermaid one like ready to go, and you know, oh, Leah Michelle. Did they put Leah Michelle in it? I thought they did.
Didn't they? No, isn't it someone? It's like a.
Did they pick a person of
like
color?
a biracial person?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We'll see. But yeah, so yeah, they're stupid, but whatever. They keep making them, so someone's seeing them. It'd be interesting to see now in this age of COVID. Well, if they were able to make a movie, like what are the animators doing? Are they working from home? Like, I have some questions. But are they churning out more content? Are we going to have a movie, a Disney movie? I mean, I guess Onward was kind of like that, where it was like briefly in theaters, but then COVID happened, and then they released it on streaming right away.
Isn't this the time for massive amounts of animation because you don't have to have film sets with people?
No, but you need the equipment, and people can't bring that home, probably, right?
Animators can go in the studio and wear a mask and social distance by doing their work. Like
Let's
that
hope
way.
so, because that is
that would be an
essential worker
in animated movies. I would love that.
Sure. Yeah. Let's make it all animated. True. Because then you don't have to worry about people getting COVID because they're all animated.
You don't need the staff.
Come in one at a time. You're in separate recording booths. Yeah. It seems very safe.
You could probably do that work from home. It's a computer.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Come on, Disney. Let's go.
Yeah. More animated movies. So this was great. Love this experience. Obviously, if you have Disney Plus, easy for you to view. All the Disney movies are on there. Highly recommend. Give Lion King a watch. It is a beautiful movie.
Give it a chance, guys. Have you heard about this movie called The Lion King?
Just watch it again is what I'm saying. Not like...
Yes, give it
if you haven't
another-
seen this movie, like Brandon, I don't know what you're
Give
doing.
it a I would like to also just say before we go, my favorite Lion King spoof of all time was like a random, I don't even remember what this was a commercial for. Maybe it was a preview. I think it was a preview for Lilo and Stitch or whatever. But basically, it was the beginning of The Lion King. And then the part where Rafiki holds the lion up, and then it's like this little creature, so Stitch. And one of the animals goes, like one of the zebras is like, wait, that's not Simba. and then Stitch is like, blah, 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 blah. And then everybody's like, ah, and like runs away. It was my favorite spoof
That's
of all
great.
time. I got to find it. But good times, good memories.
That's great. Yeah, they've done a lot of spoofs of that. Lifting something up over a rock.
Yeah.
It lives on.
Yeah. But yeah, come watch The Lion King again. Come and talk to us about it. We're on Twitter at The Sweetie Club or on Instagram at Large Marge Santos. Thank you, as always, for listening. Bye.
Bye. No rape artist here.